quit changing, that we quit growing in our wisdom and knowledge of who He is. Inside of you. I'm not giving you instructions up here, ever. You should never walk out of this building and say, well, he said, here's what I learned from him. No. You should learn to follow God closer when you come into any setting like this. You should be learning to follow God closer when you're sitting in front of your Bible, whether you're in a closet, a Starbucks, your kitchen table. That's what you should be learning, how to follow God more closely. When you're in a small group Bible study, when you're in our Thursday night discovery class, when you're in all those things, no matter what it is, you should be learning to follow God closer, not getting tools to just show the world. Follow Him closer, and they will see Him more. That's our purpose. Now, you've all had the bracelets. We talked about this last week that says, what would Jesus do, right? Somebody had one last week, and he showed me when we left. Anybody got a WWJD bracelet on today? Oh, you wore it last year. You gave it away. Good. What would Jesus do? He'd give His bracelets away. I agree. No. Oh, we're not really talking about what would Jesus do. We're now, since we're kind of in construction, physically starting tomorrow, and spiritually always, we're talking about what would Jesus undo. What would Jesus undo in your life? Spiritual indifference was our first week. Last week it was hollow worship. This week we're going to talk about something that I think Jesus hated with all of His heart. Could Jesus hate? Using our phrase of the word hate, yes, I think so. Could it really be hate? Probably not. But what we consider hate, yeah, I think Jesus felt it, and I think He felt it towards this thing. I believe that He would undo this behavior, this attitude, this thing that He just despises, and we're going to call it what it really is, hypocrisy. Oh, I like being a hypocrite, though. Don't anybody like being a hypocrite? Okay, you should be raising your hand now. Maybe by the end we won't want to raise our hand, but right now, yes, we like it. I promise you. If you really get honest, and I know that's a tough thing to do, honesty, you will realize that you kind of like being a hypocrite because it makes you feel comfortable. It takes the guilt and shame away from you, and it transfers it to somebody else. And who doesn't want to get rid of guilt and shame and give it to somebody else? I mean, it's literally our human life work to be better ourselves, or to at least appear that way, than everybody else. It's why the class system survived. It's why you still live in sort of a class system. Well, I would never do that. Well, you would never catch me there. I'm smarter than that. I'm better than that. Well, I'm not going there. Surely you're not going to ask me to do that. Right? That's a class system. Hypocrisy is, I believe, what's really kind of got it. So how many of you know someone who's a hypocrite? Yeah. How many of them are sitting next to you? Okay, because if your hand didn't go up, you the guy. And everybody knows it but you, for some reason. You know, we talked about things at our church that we wanted to give away. You know, we give you those little keychains. And we give you stuff that you can hide in your pocket. Because we talked about bumper stickers. And then I was like, no, ain't no way we're allowing people to tell the world where they go to church. Right? Because I'm afraid. I literally am. I'm afraid that I'll be guilt by association. And you should feel the same way about me. Oh, please, have you ever said to someone who you know is a Christian, or maybe just a church member, and you were like, don't tell them you're a Christian while I'm around. Just keep that to yourself. We kind of talked about it at Spiritual Indifference Week. How it'd be better to be cold than lukewarm at all. But about the hypocrisy that's in our life, for sure, when I see people acting stupid, and I know they're a Christian, I'm just like, please don't let anybody else see them. Right? But that's my own hypocrisy. I mean, it's a little bit shame on you, but a lot of it, just my own hypocrisy. Because I'm turning around doing the same thing. Maybe in a different manner, but I'm doing the same thing. We all are. Every single one of us live a hypocritical life to some degree. We'll kind of look at it and you'll see. Do y'all know what the number one complaint from non-Christians about Christians are? Okay, I just spent 15 minutes telling you the answer. So you thought we were going to switch now and you were going to go bad hair. No. Hypocrisy, that's right. You ask anybody who won't embrace Christianity or won't embrace, for just a minute, allow me to use the word church and Christian synonymous, okay? So they won't come to church or they won't embrace Christianity, and they will tell you, well, they're all just a bunch of hypocrites. To which I always respond, there's plenty of room for one more. Right? We're getting ready to get new chairs. There's going to be extra room for the hypocrites to come in, right? Or we always tell our church members when they have a bad problem, there's something wrong with your church. I always encourage them, go find the perfect church, but then don't join that one, right? Stick with the ones that are flawed in your mind. But yeah, the world even knows how bad we are. They'll say, I don't go to church because of the hypocrites. I don't go to church. I went to church, but some people there hurt me. Have you ever hurt someone at church? Don't raise your hand. But answer the question in your mind. Have you ever said something to someone that you shouldn't have said to them, and they knew you were a Christian or a church person, and because of that, they don't want nothing to do with any of us. They don't want nothing to do with the whole religious thing. They'll say things like, well, they lied to me. In some extreme cases, they will say, I looked up to them, and then they deceived me. Or really extreme, they molested me. Those stories came out a couple years ago. All the heinous stuff that church leaders do to people. And people remember that. And the world sees all that. And then they want to look at your life. And it's a shame. Tough. They want to look at your life and they want to find out if you're just like all the ones they read about in the news. The stuff they watch on Facebook. Are you just like that? Sadly, the answer is yeah. Now, are you bold enough to tell them? Yeah, I am. We'll see. Here's what Brennan Manning said about it. I love this guy. He said, the single greatest cause of atheism in the world today is Christians who acknowledge Jesus with their lips, then walk out the door and deny him with their lifestyle. That is what an unbelieving world simply finds unbelievable. Now, when you hear that, especially this phrase, Christians who acknowledge Jesus with their lips, then walk out the door and deny him with their lifestyle. How many of you all thought of the person who comes in here and then goes out and lives a worldly life? Just sins and doesn't even care. How many of y'all thought about that guy? Absolutely, yeah. It's not what he's talking about. Brennan Manning is literally talking about you and I who come in here and say one thing about our life, meaning Jesus is Lord over all of it. I trust him with everything. And then you walk out there and you don't live like that. He's talking about you and he's talking about me. Because that's hypocrisy. That's being a hypocrite. Hypocrisy is not the disparity between what you do and what you wish you did. That's not hypocrisy. It's not hypocritical to say, I wish I didn't have bad thoughts, but I do. I wish I didn't lie, but I did. That's not hypocrisy. That's just a sin. The hypocrisy is the gap between what we show and who we are. Hypocrisy is what we tell people we believe and what we actually live out. That's the hypocrisy. It's what we say versus how we live. Or say another way, it's the difference between our public persona and our private character. Could be called integrity. You know, integrity is doing what's right even when nobody else is watching. Also called hypocrisy. Saying one, saying you believe one, identifying yourself publicly as something, but then living a totally different, or not even totally, just kinda, basing your life. You got two. One you show. I'm going to try to say this word right. I've been practicing for like a couple of days. Hypokritos. I think that's right. Hypokritos. It's spelled Hupokrites. The root word of hypocrisy. And it actually means a person, an actor on stage, one who hides behind a mask. Don't you know those masks? You ever seen the creepy little mask that you hold up and it's always smiling? You seen that one? And you take it back and you're like, oh, put the mask back on. Okay. You ever met somebody at Halloween, they take their costume off, you're like, oh, put it back on. Right? You're like, ooh, you were better dressed up like a wolf. Not like that. But that creepy little, just always smiling, always, everything's fine. You ever answer that question when you come into church? How's it going? Fine. Good. Right? You put it on, man. You walk out. How's it going in your life? Oh, it's good. It's good. It's fine. It's going to be good. You just kind of wear that little mask. Yet, in reality, the truth is, man, it sucks today. I got up on the wrong side of the bed. My coffee, man, it's cold. Whatever. No, it's fine. Everything's good. No, I'm struggling because I'm worried about this. You're not supposed to worry. I think that's the problem. I think if I'm honest with you and I say, I'm worried about this, you're going to bounce back with, you're not supposed to worry. You're supposed to be a Christian. I don't know why you talk with a hair lip when you do that. It just came out. Here's what Titus says. Paul wrote this. They claim to know God, but their actions, or they deny Him by the way they live. They are detestable, disobedient, worthless for doing anything good. Now, we don't even have to get into context, really. Because such people, who's the such people? Yeah. Who claim to know God, but they deny Him by the way they live. Now, once again, yes, it is about the people who come in and say, I'm perfect, I love God, I worship God, woo-hoo. And then you run out the door and you just go and do something. You're just faking it. Okay? But it's not about what you're faking on either side. The problem's the gap in between. Because you can go outside and do good things and be a hypocrite. You can go outside and do bad things and be a hypocrite, because ain't none of you qualified to judge between good and bad. You don't know the difference. In your human form, it's all good. Only God can determine what's good and bad. So the way the hypocrisy comes out is, I'm claiming to follow God, yet when I go out or when I'm not around people, I'm not really following God. I'm using my own knowledge and determination to decide what I should do each and every day. That's hypocrisy. And God is asking us to follow Him. You're claiming that you know Him. Look, it's not good enough that one day you accepted Him. To know Him is to love Him. To love Him is to follow Him. That's what it means by know. Not just, oh yeah, I'm a Christian, but I'm not going to let anybody else know where I'm struggling. I'm not going to let... Now, you're not supposed to be running around going, oh, it's death, everything's going to die, I can't... Now, I'm talking about just faking it. Any fake you do is a hypocrisy. Plain and simple. It's the gap between what we show and who we are. Have you ever, we'll kind of talk some of the positive. You ever met the person? We used to pass plates in our church back home. Y'all remember passing plates? Yeah? So there's like 6 of you. Awesome. There were stories that used to go around that as the plate went by, you would hold that plate a little higher as you dug into your wallet, right? And that's why you always gave coins usually, because you wanted to hear them fall in there, and you wanted everybody else to hear the same thing. I remember people in our church, they would give rolls of coins. You know what a roll of pennies sounds like? Same thing as a roll of quarters. It's just the noise. They don't really care. You know, if they're going to put bills in, they're going to drop them in one at a time. Or you lay the plate in your lap. See, if I was sitting next to somebody like that, and they did that, I'd look at them and go, I saw what you did yesterday. You need to do some more. Given just to be seen. Given just to be seen. Are you like that? Do you do that? Do you only volunteer when there's a lot of people volunteering? Or you do it by yourself? I don't know. Jesus talked about it in fasting. Y'all know what fasting is, right? Yeah. It's where you eat when nobody knows you're eating, but you tell everybody you're not eating. Yeah. I love fasting, man. Are you fasting? Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't you worry. That's between me and God. But yes, I am. Yeah. Yeah, do you walk in? I'm so hungry, man. You know, Jesus says, when you're going to fast, don't be walking in, tell them how much you miss the food. Man, I would really love to have some chocolate cake, but I'm fasting. Yeah, I feel like I'm wasting away to nothing. Can't you tell? Jesus says, don't do that. Wash your face. Look like you ate. To fake it? No, to not fake it. To not draw attention. To not make it about the fasting. Because it literally is between you and Him. Or do you pray to be heard? Oh, gosh, I hate praying out loud. That's not true. I hate it when certain people pray out loud. Because they like to tell me things about God while we're praying. Dear God, you said in Isaiah chapter 5, verse 13. My wife will say, like God's up there going, no duh, Captain Obvious. I said it. Duh, I wrote it. The whole thing. I didn't even do it in English. Let you pull that off. Right? Or they pray about, God, you were with me yesterday when I ran that stop sign. Yeah. I know you were there. You saw that other car. I was scared. You know, we start talking, whatever it is. But we're praying, we're not praying to Him. We're praying to everybody else. So they can hear you. It's fake. That's hypocrisy. It literally is. What about criticizing someone? Right? Now, some of you feel okay criticizing people about the big things that you don't do. Right? That's probably okay, isn't it? Somebody said no. Why is it not okay? I mean, if I'm not getting drunk, then I should be able to criticize you for doing so. I mean, I'm not a hypocrite because I'm not doing it. I mean, if I don't have tattoos, then I shouldn't be able to criticize you. I should be able to criticize you for having them, right? Nope. Well, what heck? What do I get to criticize people over? Don't tell me nothing. All we do is criticize people. So how and what can I criticize people over? Are we going to agree it's nothing? Are you serious? Are we? No. Some of you are like dead stare. Do not make eye contact. I don't know what to answer. Go ahead and answer. Nothing. You can't criticize over anything. That's not your job. You want to stand in front of the mirror, criticize all day. And criticize about how you don't follow him. Fuss at yourself for not following what he's asked you to do. Because I promise, the minute you turn around and criticize somebody, you're not doing what he told you to do. I've never even talked. I've talked to God a lot, right? Let me puff myself up here. I talk to him all the time. Not every minute, but a lot. And he's never said, listen, I need some help. I am trying my best to get through to him. And I think if he heard some critical words from you, that I would finally have a shot at his heart. So what I need you to do, great servant of mine, is to go and deliver a really pointed message. Yes, it's going to sting him a little bit, but he'll get over it. Does it sound like something God would tell you to do? No. Then why are you doing it? Why do I do it? Because I'm a hypocrite. That's the answer. I'm a hypocrite. I can criticize all day long as I'm not being critical of what I do. Y'all remember the story that Jesus tells us about that actually happened. It wasn't a story. About when he went to the temple and he turned over the tables. How many of y'all think it's because you're not supposed to sell anything in church? Good. We got some geniuses in here. It's not. It's actually hypocritical. The whole thing's about being hypocritical. Bad worship and hypocritical. Because what was happened was, and it wasn't even about the money changers. It wasn't about those guys necessarily. It was about the people walking up to the table. Because the people walking up to the table are saying, we're here to make a sacrifice. We're getting ready to go into that temple. We're going to sacrifice these animals for our sins. Because that's what God has instructed us to do. Can I buy 3 doves? Can I buy a lamb that you've already made sure is spotless? I'm trusting you to make sure it's spotless because God don't take a spotted lamb. It's got to be spotless. See, the hypocrisy was, we're here to make a sacrifice. And by very nature of the word sacrifice, you can't just conveniently buy something to be your sacrifice. You can't just walk up into the building and say, I'm here to worship God, when in reality, you're just here because it's Sunday, because it's convenient, because somebody told you to, because if you don't, somebody's going to call you. You've got to be here because you love the guy we're worshiping. And that's all. Anything else is hypocrisy. And everybody knows it. Now, Gracie has about 10 friends that spent the night last night. I kid you not. That's not a preacher exaggeration. That's a lot of teenage girls. They're out watching one of our screens right now. And here's what I've told them. I told them all last night. If you lie, that's one thing. But do not think someone actually believes it. Lie all you want. It's not like I can stop you. Just don't think that I believe you. How many of y'all know somebody who lies all the time? Right? And what's worse about them is that they actually think you believe them. Right? Have you ever said that? They walk away from you and you're like, he actually thinks I believe that. Like we used to have this guy all the time. He could not come to church not drunk. It was impossible. It was like he was raised in church drunk. I think that was his deal. But he would look at you and I ain't been drinking. why are there three of you? Right? I mean, and he honestly believed that I didn't think he was. Right? Or I've had so many people come. We would sit across the table, and they would say something like, I believe I'm codependent. Duh! Well, I didn't think you knew. I mean, your life shows exactly what you are. Every single one of us. The true self comes out. And it's hypocrisy a lot of the times. Because that gap exists. Jesus never really spoke more harshly. That's why I say he really hates it. Look at Matthew 23, 27 through 28, and then we're going to jump over to 33. 27 starts with, woe to you, teachers. Okay, I don't know what version you use. I'm going to read your version. I could be surprised. What sorrow awaits you, teachers of religious law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are like whitewashed tombs, beautiful on the outside, but filled on the inside with dead people's bones and all sorts of impurity. 28. Try hers. Outwardly, you look like righteous people, but inwardly, your hearts are filled with hypocrisy and lawlessness. Now, aren't you glad you're not one of those guys? Darned old Pharisees, to hell with them all, right? One more, 33. He says, actually calls them snakes. And then he Christian cusses. We've been talking about that a lot. Sons of vipers. You can say that one, right? You son of a viper. How will you escape the judgment of hell? So how's that? Son of a viper, go to hell, right? Jesus said it, not me. Don't Christian cuss. Please don't Christian cuss. Oh my gosh. Just freaking cuss. No. I meet people that cuss all the time, Christian-y. It's bad. Anyway, he says, look, you want to look good on the outside while being dirty on the inside. Right? You want to look good. That's the problem here. You want to look good. You've got this thing that you've decided you've got to look good. You just got to, man. Because if you don't, people aren't going to like you, or I don't know. I don't know what it is. Because it's different for all of us. I have my own reasons for wanting to look good. But I'm doing pretty good. I'm trying to let you see all my faults. Right? Many of you remind me after church, you'll tell me, that was one of your faults, wasn't it? Yeah, that's what it was. You want the illusion of public virtue while holding a private vice. Right? You want everybody to know, I got nothing wrong, man. But look, Jesus, he wasn't calling out the sin. Notice that. Go back over and look at 20, I think it's 28. Just hold that up there. He didn't say, woe to you who cuss. He didn't say, woe to you who watch bad shows, hypocrites. That's not what he said. He said, woe to you who want it to look like you don't cuss. Woe to you who want people to think you don't watch bad shows. Listen. I'm about to throw this thing all the way across the parking lot. And then I'm going to order about a $1,000 mic. Because I don't think you can worship Jesus unless it's right. See, I gave you the truth. He didn't do that. He says, hypocrites do it and act like you don't. And then a really good hypocrite will do it, act like you don't, and then call somebody else for doing it. Because you're doing it in private, nobody knows. Most of the stuff you and I do as hypocrites hide. We keep it from people. Listen, social media is a breeding ground for this stuff. Hashtag blessed. Hashtag just loving God. Hashtag couldn't believe the amazing gift God gave us with his sunset. Hashtag can't see this up north. I like talking in hashtag too. It's another fault. But really, you put up pictures of your loving spouse, how much you love them, say great words about them, and then just attack. As long as everybody else thinks it's okay. Hashtag greatest spouse on the planet. but in your mind thinking, wish somebody else had come along. See, nobody knows. Nobody knows. Only you know. You can say all those things. We all think you got the best. Right? Because we only see what you show. We call it seeing the highlight reels of life. You don't show the rest. You know, or you always check in at church because you want everybody up north to go, I'm on vacation, but I went to church. You do know, I'm just going to help you. You don't have to come in to do that. You can actually check in as you pass the church because the geographical metadata hits the street. You could be driving 25 miles an hour and hit that check-in button and it'll give you credit for being at church. Everybody will know. And then I don't know if you were really here or not. Sorry, you don't stand out that much. Right? I get all those. There literally were. People were checking at church. I was like, I didn't see them. I found out. You don't even got to be here to check in here. Paul's brother Joe, who passed away a couple years ago, he used to check in at Captiva, this little restaurant. He would get me every time. He would say, checking in at the Bubble Room, and I'd be like, what the heck you doing coming to Florida not even saying hi? That boy was up in Kentucky just playing a joke on everybody. He didn't care. So now you got the tools. You can sit your butt at home, check in at church. Everybody thinks you went. You can be the first at the restaurant. Check in there. But really, I mean, a lot of people do that just to check in. Or how many of y'all share your devotion on the Facebook for the purpose of letting everybody know you're like Jesus Calling graduate, right? I got so much Jesus Calling stuff posted on my Facebook page, man, they know. And I want people to know it. This really touched my heart. It touched my heart today about how I should be really humble. And I want everyone to know how humble I am. Right? You got to be careful. You post some stuff about Jesus Calling, and then you physically get in front of people that day. I remember what you posted about Jesus Calling. And I usually say, did you hang up on him? Maybe you should increase the conversation time. Maybe not just have him on your caller ID, but literally pick up the phone. Hypocrisy. I think Jesus has zero tolerance for hypocrisy, but he has unlimited grace for a sinner in need of forgiveness. This is what's really cool. Look at Matthew 23, but prior to what we just talked about, 25 through 26. So it says, woe to you, teachers of law and Pharisees, you hypocrites. You clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside, what does yours say? Inside you're filthy, full of greed, and self-indulgent, right? And then he says, blind Pharisee, here's the hope. You ready? First, clean the inside of the cup and dish, and then the outside you'll be able to clean up easier. Right? That's not what it says. It says you clean up the inside. How do you clean up the inside? Depend. Jesus. What happens to the outside automatically? It gets clean too. You don't have to do it. You don't. So this should flag your brain a little bit. So you can go to someone after God tells you to go criticize them. You get your marching orders. You can go criticize them, and you can know that they're not going to make the change because their inside is still dirty. Right? You can be the dish inspector. And you can help them find God. So when you're criticizing, be sure to remind them, you must not be a Christian. Your inside must be really dirty because what I'm seeing on the outside, filthy. Just filthy. That was sarcasm. Hashtag make sure you're paying attention. Okay? See, I'd rather be an honest sinner than a lying hypocrite. I mean, what if I was up here just preaching grace and then holding everything against people? How bad? What if you're preaching grace? What if you're thankful for grace and then holding everything against people? That's kind of hypocritical. What if I say, you shouldn't care what other people think, right? Or me, because this is tough for me. Because I used to like to go home, and I told you all this. I like to go home and hashtag church house full today, right? I like to compare. I like to find out what other churches are doing. And I hope they're less than I am. Right? I hope a lot of people didn't show up. Hope they're coming over here. Right? And that was a fault of mine, really. And I would just post it. Remember I told you I would take pictures. Then I could fill in little empty spots. Yeah. I could put smiles on your faces. Everybody loves Beach Baptist, and everybody would be like this. Right. Oh, speaking of which, when y'all were like that, y'all remember who was here when we took the video for the girl going to the Olympics? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember like, we go, you go, girl. She won the gold. She did. And yeah, don't clap. You don't know her. I just thought it was interesting information. They had sudden death, and Gigi, hit the first sudden death goal towards it was awesome. Okay, go ahead and clap, because I know you're dying to do it. Okay, there you go. Awesome. Or maybe you say things like, you shouldn't love this world. Right? Or I tell you this. I'm talking about myself now. You shouldn't love this world. But then I go and I meet with like the finance team, and I only feel comfortable as long as we're making bank. Right? As long as we're comfortable. As long as there's a good cushion there, if I was doing that. Now, thankfully, I stink at money, so you never had to worry about that one with me, right? It didn't matter to me if we had $0 in the dollar in the bank or negative 10 in the bank. Did you know you can actually have negative money in the bank? I don't even know how that works, but I'm like their poster child. Yeah, overdraft protection. There's a picture of me. They're like, don't be this guy. They call that a service. I hate that. They charged me $40 for going in the hole. I called them and they said, you're welcome. What do you mean I'm welcome? That's one of our services. Take your service and shove it in your vault. Right? That's what I told them. That was stupid. Anyway, I just had to tell you that. I didn't pretend it was nice. I told them it was bad. Proverbs 28:13 told me, whoever conceals their sin, he who conceals their sin will not prosper, but if they confess and turn from them, they will receive mercy. Now, Solomon's given out this wisdom to a person, and I truly believe it's for other people. Now, you already know that it works for God. I mean, I confess my sins for God, and He saves me. Okay, so that's confession. You receive mercy. I know going forward that I feel bad when I sin, and I talk to God about it, but I've already received the mercy that I'm going to receive. It carries forward. I think Solomon's talking about, I sin, and I don't try to conceal it with you. I actually share it with you, and then I receive mercy from you. And I think that's a good teaching for this, because out there, listen, if you'll start being a little more honest with the world, about how you believe God to be the Savior of your soul, and you're trying your darndest, but not always, it just doesn't always happen. Give them the duh moment. Give them the go, yeah, thanks, Captain Obvious. I've watched you. Yes, and I know you've watched me, but I've been faking it. Yeah, I know you. I know you've seen that in my life, but I wanted you to know that I know you've seen it. And in reality, I was hoping you didn't see it, but that was stupid of me. Are you able to get that honest? Because you're only as strong as you are honest. You're only as strong as you are honest. Now, so I told you Wednesday night was an awesome time. So Wednesday was an awesome time. I wasn't going to talk while she was walking. That's rude. And here's the question we posed you Wednesday night. And I want to see if you see any fallacies here. Here's the question we posed. What have you brought forward in your life that hinders your worship to God? That's the question. Okay, now if you weren't here, now you've got the question. I want you to go home and work on it. But what in your life have you brought forward, and we sort of said in our religious life, have you brought forward that hinders your worship to God? And literally, of the people that actually answered that question, one person answered it correctly. Everybody else told us what everybody else does to hinder their worship. Everybody else told us, well, I was raised this way, this is this, and when people do that, I can't worship. That's not the question. The question is, what are you bringing forward that keeps you from worshiping? Can you be that honest? Excuses, yeah. I bring excuses forward. Or we make excuses for it. So, what I determined was it was my fault. I didn't give you enough notice, to be honest. I mean, seriously. I mean, really. So I'm giving you some notice for Wednesday. What are you hypocritical about in your life? We're going to share together. Now, if you don't come on Wednesday, we're going to talk about you like a dog. And we're going to talk about how hypocritical you must be because you don't want to share. But I want you to think about it because I truly believe you're only as strong as you are honest. And if I can't push your buttons to be honest, what point is there in all this? Who cares what God's doing in your life then? Just keep coming, hanging out, pretending. But remember what Jesus says about that attitude. Remember his attitude towards that attitude. Don't change because of that. Use that as an indicator. You're not following. Because God would never have you do those things. Drop the mask. Confess to God and to people. Because you have nothing to fear when you have nothing to hide. Right? We love Sons of Anarchy, the show. And Sharon said to me one day, why is that funny? You know what I'm going to say, don't you? How do you know? I watch it, and I like it. Anyway, my point was, how would you like to live like that? Because they are just a bunch of liars. I mean, they can't not lie. It's impossible. And they always have to have a gun with them. Wait, I am like that. But they have to have a gun with them because they're lying so much. And they're always looking over their shoulder and it's just eating them alive. How many of y'all have ever done that? That you've had something in your life, a lie, that you're trying to cover up. You don't want anybody to know. And it makes you almost sick. You live in it and you hide it. Listen, here's the problem. It's the lies that you're living that don't make you sick that I should be worried about. It's the things in your life that you don't even care. It's like using your iPhone to look at YouVersion right now and then using it to look at porn at 2 o'clock and not caring that there's a difference. It's like anything that you go, it's like I'm a perfect Christian, yet you've got a secret addiction. See, Jesus would call us out. It's like telling your spouse, I love you with all my heart, then you go to work and flirt all day long. Who's laughing at that? Showing the perfect marriage and needing help. I'll give you one for me. I will teach all day long on marriage. Because I'm not ashamed of my marriage. You ain't got to worry. I dare you to follow me around in my marriage. Right? I promise. I will teach all day long. But I won't teach on budgeting and debt. Why are you laughing at me? Here's why. Because I have debt. I think it's horrible, but I have debt. And it bothers me to death. But to sit up here and tell you how bad debt is would be a hypocrisy. So I'm never going to teach on it until I get it under control. I'll let you know how bad it is in my life. But I'm not going to tell you you're wrong for having it because you already know that. I'll tell you how wrong I am for having it and how much it eats alive. Not ever going to teach on it. But marriage, I'll teach all day long. Because of my confidence, because of my truth. And I believe she lives it out, and I believe I live it out. Can you? Whatever it is in your life, decide what you don't need to be showing. Tell about it, and get to where you can show it. Find out what it is you can show, and show it with all your heart. But admit the truth about them all. Don't hide behind it. Drop the mask. Confess to God and to people. Because when you have nothing to fear, when you have nothing to hide. Look at this prayer and we'll go. That was mostly the truth. Psalm 139, 23 to 24. Be careful when you say this one, though. Because he already knows. He's just going to reveal. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. So what you're not giving God access to your life. He's already got it. What you're asking is make the search and reveal the answer. Show me. Search me and show me. Lead me along the path. Point out anything in me that offends you. Oh, no. Point out anything in me and a few other people that offend you. Point out anything in me that offends you and lead me along the path of everlasting life. Tammy sent me a note. I told you I was going to use it. It worked. Tammy sent me a note and she reminded me after Wednesday night. She was like, yeah, there was a whole lot of we in there. A whole lot of we can't, we shouldn't. Not much me. Not much I shouldn't. What I said before, we didn't really answer the question. We answered it for everybody else. Whole lot of we, not much me. But I believe if you were to say, God, search me, he then reveals you to you. And I promise, when you do that and he reveals, you'll have zero time to worry about anybody else. Who's teaching him? Oh, he's got the headphones on. He was singing out loud. Huh? Oh, he said, why? Oh, because we don't have no time. I know when I ask God to reveal stuff in me, man, the laundry list looks about like that. Right? And if I were to just start going down the list, he and I could commune together every day. He could reveal to me when and where those problems arise. He could teach me and train me, and I could respond to him. Novel. An everyday walk with God. Who'd have thunk? By simply him or responding to the question, search and reveal to me what's wrong with me. We don't close the gaps with perfection. We close them with Christ. By this constant, everyday follow and flow. Stop trying to be a good Christian. You're not going to be. Spend some time with the one who is good. And out of that life will flow what God has planned to flow. That's the promise that God gives us. All right? Let's stand and we'll go. Real quick before Yeah. So you've heard all about where the pews are coming out. Some of you are sitting on pews that have orange stickers on them, and you wouldn't sit there, you didn't think, because it looked like it was reserved. They're literally reserved to go home with someone. Here's what we need if you want to help. So starting this afternoon, a couple of you have wives who are doing something, I don't remember what it was, and you wanted to stay and help. You can come and do that. We're gonna, if you want to help this week in just some of the work, if you'll just come down here as soon as church is over and just hang out right here for just a minute. We got to make some stacks of stuff. We got people coming to pick up stuff starting early morning. So we want to just kind of get a head start of moving some stuff. So there's some guys, got a few minutes. If you want to come back, we're going to leave the doors open today. If you want to come back with an 11 millimeter end wrench, I'll tell you all about that when you get here. So you'll bring a tool. No heavy lifting, no heavy grabbing. Also, right now, reach in front, right in front of you. Grab the pens and the envelopes and just put them in your hands. Don't leave any in there. Wes has boxes at those doors. And do we have them out these doors too? Yep, out these doors and those doors. You're going to drop the pens in one box and the envelopes in another. Now, if it's the first time you've had an offering envelope in your hand, borrow a pen. I kid. These are for the extras. We know you've already put them in the offering baskets. Put those in the empty boxes outside the doors in the sanctuary. So see there, we all worked together, got the entire thing cleaned out really fast. So if you're going to help, if you can help right now or anytime this week, just come down front. We'll get everybody out of the room. I'll tell you the plan for the whole week. And then even if you can't come back till Monday or Tuesday, stay for just a minute. Let me give you the plan because there's going to be too much going on to try to give instructions after today. So if you can hang, just come up here. Well, let's pray together and we'll go. We'll see you back Wednesday night at 5:30. We're back in the retreat center for family fellowship meal and Bible study. Then check out all the other Bible studies that are going on. There's small groups meeting almost every day this week. Come and join one. Even if it says ladies Bible study, guys, we don't care if you crash. Some of them are single. Let's pray together and we'll go. God, I thank you that you allow me to be honest. God, I know that me revealing myself to you it's more about me than it is you. Thanks for loving me anyway. Thanks for the grace that I continually live in. Give me the courage to make the changes I need to make. Thank you for the wisdom that you're going to show me in those areas. May this world see you and me. In your name we pray. Amen.